Hi, this is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and I'm here today to talk about my favorite game mechanism in games that are rewarding versus games that are punishing. I'm going to use 4 examples here, so we're not talking about a specific game today, but rather we're talking about the idea of a game rewarding you for everything you do versus games that punish you and how there are merits to both of them, and how I maybe prefer one over the other. So, I was thinking about this the other day. Last week I filmed a video about Nations. And Nations is a punishing game. Nations, there's a lot of good things you can do in Nations, but every time you, say, add a new worker, you add an incremental cost that you have to pay from then on. And if you don't pay that cost, you're punished for it. If you lose a war in Nations, you're punished for it. You lose points. If your happiness, I still forget what it's called, but if your happiness, your stability, that's what it is. If your stability is too low, you are punished for it. And if you don't meet the requirements of the event card each round, you're punished for that as well. Now, what these punishing aspects can do in a game like Nations is they can add a lot of variability and variety to the game, because they change from game to game. In some games, you might get punished more than others, and you have to build your strategy around not getting punished, basically. Another game where this is kind of the case is Agricola. In Agricola, you have to feed your family every round. And this is difficult. This is a big part of the game, building your engine so that you can feed your family and then maybe not have to worry so much about that, so that you can focus on building up your little farm empire. And that's one of the things. That's one of the divisive things about Agricola. And sometimes when I play Agricola, I love it, and sometimes I don't realize this until I've started playing. But I realize that as I'm playing that I'm not in the mood for getting punished, and sometimes I don't have as good of a time with Agricola during those times. And so I think punishment is an interesting mechanism in that. Inherently, it should feel bad, right? I mean, the game is punishing you for playing it. But it can add a huge amount of a puzzle to the game. So if you love solving puzzles, as I often do, I think the punishing elements of a game can actually be rewarding, the opposite of punishing. Because if you solve that puzzle and you're punished less, or not punished at all, then you feel like you've achieved something. You have this small victory of not getting punished, which is a little weird, but it actually works in games really, really well. Let's talk about the flip side. Let's talk about rewarding games. I've done videos for Orleans and what's the other one? Terra Mystica. I've done videos about both of these games. I've only played Orleans once, but I think about it all the time. I can't wait to play it again. And Terra Mystica is still number one on my all-time favorite games list. Both of these games are very rewarding games. Everything you do is a good thing. It moves you forward in the game. In Terra Mystica, this involves building stuff on the map. And as you build stuff, not only are you gaining control of a territory, and you're working towards points that you get for territorial control in cities and all that, but you are also gaining better income than you previously had. Your income is constantly getting better and improving and branching off in different directions. You're rewarded in multiple ways for everything you build on the board, which is awesome. Always feels good when you build something in Terra Mystica. Similarly, in Orleans, whenever you I guess you're training new workers or bringing new workers into your fold, your group. Whenever you do that, not only are you getting a new worker, but you are moving up on a track, which is just good in general. You're usually getting like a long-term bonus for moving up on the track, but you're also often getting a one-time bonus when you move up on that track. So if you hire, I think it's a knight. If you hire a knight, you get the knight and you move up on the track associated with the knight, and you get a one-time bonus when you make that forward movement. For some of the tracks, I think are just a long-term, like you're getting better at the number of workers you can draw out of your bag. And this came to mind the other day when I was watching a video from Medieval Academy, which I haven't haven't played, but in Medieval Academy, whenever you play a card, you're also moving up on a track. It feels good. These are rewards in the game. Everything you do it gives you a good feeling. And honestly, this is kind of the idea that I used in viticulture. In viticulture, it's full of rewards. You're always getting good stuff in viticulture. It may not be the best thing for you, but you're getting something good, so you get to feel good about it. So this is the flip side of the punishing games, these rewarding games where everything you do is rewarding you, moving you forward, building up, and ideally making you feel good. And I guess the one thing I struggle with is, as much as I can admire the punishing games and the puzzle that they add to the game, I know that I feel better after I play a rewarding game. I know that feeling is better for me personally. It might vary for you quite a bit from gamer to gamer. But I struggled to figure out how a punishing game could possibly give you a better feeling than a rewarding game. The answer is out there, I'm sure of it, because there are plenty of cooperative games that just beat you to the ground and you feel good when you saw them. I think that might be specific to cooperative games, though, because you're getting beat down together with other people, and sometimes you actually beat the game, and then it feels like a huge victory that you did that. But in competitive games where you're playing for yourself, I tend to think that you're going to walk away feeling better from that game if the game has rewarded you for every little thing that you do. Sometimes in multiple ways, like these examples that I gave. You're being rewarded in more than one way for many of the actions you're taking, which is pretty awesome. So I'd love to hear what you think about the feelings you get when you play these punishing games versus rewarding games, and if there are times where you do feel better after playing a punishing game than a rewarding game, or vice versa. I generally feel better after a rewarding game, but I understand that I know there are strong merits to those punishing games as well. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about rewarding versus punishing games. Thanks.